man. Very, very. It's an honor to be guys with you. And then I mean, like I, it's something that we all kind of work towards and trying to do better. So it kind of came by a little bit of luck at the same time with hard work. They always say that the harder that you work, the luckier that you get. you know, and I was kind of like working real hard, trying to find that luck, and it was harder than what I thought. It was kind of like I kept going and going and going, and my wife was telling me that, when how long can you keep doing this? I said, I don't know. I'm gonna keep doing it until I find my luck. It looks like a very promising career. I just needed to find something that I could maintain for a long time, and then I'm glad that social media was the vehicle for me to go through it, because that was kind of like social media was an opening, and it was just one lady that came to our just like I came to this. She came and she was telling us how one of her agents put a video on TikTok, and she recruited like 40 people out of that video. And it was kind of like, oh my god, and we're trying to recruit people, and Dan and I, we looked at each other and says, man, we're kind of old, like I don't know how we can do that. I don't even have a TikTok page then either. So we're like, so he asked his daughter helped him put a TikTok together, and they did a video, and that video had 250,000 views. Out of that, he recruited like 30 people, and he basically has still have Kevin Caston out of that video. And then so that opened my eyes that I mean, as he's older than me. So I say, I need, maybe my daughter is going to help me too. My daughter saying, no, I'm not going to help you. That's too lame. You're too old for this. So like, so I just started doing it myself. And in the beginning, it was kind of like, I didn't know how to do a video. I was jumping on the pool, thing like that. So it was like people were laughing at me. I had no followers. So for a long time, I just posted and posted, and then trying to become better at it, and until finally, you persist and persist, and you know that things work. So it's kind of like, how can I find a thing that works for me? And then so I paid this guy that's 19-year-old to teach me about TikTok. And he, for 30 minutes, I pay him like, I don't know, maybe $75 or something like that. That was the best investment that I made. He just told me like some clues that I basically pretty logical, but he knows what he was talking about. So he says, you need to find a niche. That was the first thing that you need to find something that you go after. It needs to be kind of good content to people. People will follow you. And I said, what about the age? It doesn't matter. He said, I don't care. You got the videos that I saw on you. They look okay. You just need to be not all over the place. You need to be more in line. And then so I kind of took that and I started applying. And I realized that later on, when I posted one video that took kind of like on fire, it was about life insurance. It was Depot talking about why life insurance should be mandatory, just like everything else in the insurance world. And I really like that video, so I duet him, and that video went viral. It's like a million views. Just duetting the guy, I just put some music and doing this, and then it was like, so after that, I start having more followers. So I realized at that point that people were not looking for recruiting or something. They were looking for life insurance. They were looking for something that we know how how to do. And then so I started looking more into Depot's page, and I saw about IULs and more people that were talking about IULs. Well, I have sold some IULs that were IULE, you know, the Mutual of Omaha, and then so I kind of knew, but I didn't know to what extent they were talking about. So when he was explaining about how to become your own bank and all these things, I'm like, what the heck is he talking about? So I really started investigating more and more, and then so I started posting also things about IUL and learning, and that's the beginning. You know, it was kind of like other people were already promoting, but in Family First Life there was nobody really pushing it. There was nobody, and Depot was in Family First Life, but nobody knew him. He was kind of he came from World Financial Group, and so he brought in some of the ideas of IUL, and he started doing videos. And he's a magnificent video guy, but then it was just like part of luck, part of consistency, doing things over and over. And I was just posting and posting and posting and posting until my social media started catching on fire. And when I long and behold, I had a lot of followers, you know, in TikTok and Facebook was the main one that I got in because it was older. So that's it, you know. So and then as we all know, IUL is kind of one of those things that you have everything in one package. I mean, like IUL is the perfect package for a it's not just a life insurance program. It's kind of like you can create whatever you like. You can create one for final expense. You can create one for leaving a legacy. You can create one that is gonna help you retire tax-free. You can create one that you can take money out as your own bank. So it's many different things that you can do for living benefits, for all that. So I love the concept of the IUL, that you can design it, and there's no such a thing as a bad IUL. It is a bad design of an IUL, the problem. So when people come in and tell you like, hey, IUL sucks, maybe for some people do because they were designed wrong. And then so what you have to do is make sure that we design it the right way for people of what they're looking for, not what we're looking for. Because if you're looking for a bigger commission, you're gonna design it wrong. If that's your thinking. But if your thinking is helping people and putting them in the right place, then you're gonna design it based on them. And sometimes they're gonna ask you, hey, I want the largest amount of insurance that I can get for my money because I want to cover it. Well, that's a win-win for them and a win-win for you because you're getting very high pay, but you cannot do that with everybody. You know, it's kind of like that's a protection focus. And then so protection focus is wonderful, great program, but it's not for everybody, you know. So, you know, Neal, whatever you want me to share with them and everything with the, you know, with as far as like how to design an IUO, what are the different ones and so forth, you know.
Well, one of the things that really caught my attention, that was the genesis for why we had you on. We were in Las Vegas together. We were on stage, and my head did a double take like you couldn't believe. I almost got whiplash because you said, we usually talk about your closing rates about 40%. And you said your closing rate is what?
Between 70 and 80.
Between 70 and 80%. So really, everybody here, we have a lot of new people. They've written a few IULs at different companies. They're all coming to Family First Life. We've talked about the number of families you've helped. 2 years ago, it was about 1,300. Last year, it was 1,100. It's a lot of families. I look at the policies you write. The numbers are just off the chart. So I think everybody understands the concept of IUL. Everybody understands the benefits with National Life Group, the technology and that kind of thing. But when it comes to what you do through the, you know, we call it showing the plan, right? When you're going through talking about the IUL, talking about the illustration, what are some of the things that you say along the way to get people to buy in so at the end they're just ready to go? That's really kind of the crux of this. It's not so much how to close, but I think it's what you do throughout the plan. And I posted that video that you did with Zach because you show a lot of the things that you say, and I wrote them all down. So, so I got them on a piece of paper. But if you could just kind of go through your philosophy and how you do it, because 70 to 80% is outstanding, just outstanding.
Yeah.
So could you share a little bit on that?
Yeah, I think I came from the sales world, so so part of the thing that I knew is the sale is done more in the beginning than the end. So people buy on you, so they gotta buy you first. So if you don't sell yourself, you're not gonna sell anything. So that because of that, I feel like part of I know from the beginning if I have the client with me, because they're gonna be, if people are if people don't want to give you the information from the beginning, like, hey, you ask them questions, they're not trying to give you any information, they're not trying to laugh with you, they're not trying to do anything with you. Pretty much, I'm closing my meeting, and I'm going somewhere else. I don't want to waste my time. I don't want to waste their time, because pretty much that person is not receptive to me. They're not giving me what I need to basically perform to them. And then so you gotta get along with the person, because they're buying on you. They're gonna first, they gotta trust you. There have to be a trust factor. And if they don't trust you and they don't like you, they're not gonna buy, no matter how good the product is. So you gotta have that solid, like from the moment that you and I remember Shadi is very good at that too. He wants to get people to like him, trust him, and then go into it. He does it much quicker than me, but I like to do it in a way that basically is very, very like, if I like to ask questions for sure, but at the same time, I'm kind of like getting to know them in a way that I do. You have kids? You know, how old are they? How long you been at here in the U.S.? How long you been? How long you been in that state? How long are you working independently, or are you working for a company? You know, things that they tell me, and then they say, oh, so how long you been doing that? What kind of industry are you working in? Oh, great. You know, so you just kind of getting to know. And then, so if they ask you a question, say, what about you? I say, yeah, I do have a daughter. She's 24 years old. And I start talking about me, and then I go back. You know, you don't want to be talking about you, but if they ask you, you can answer, but then you just go back. You tell them something about you, but then main thing, I mean, they're interested. At the same time, I'm leaving questions when I'm filling out the application, because I don't want to fill out the application and have no questions for them to think about. So while I'm doing the application, I'm always talking. I'm always basically talking to people when I'm doing the application. I don't give them a quiet moment when I'm doing an application. Pretty much, I'm always doing something with them. So the other part is, you know, what are you guys doing for towards that you're creating? Like, I mean, like, you seem like you're the type of person that's concerned about your future. So what are you doing for that? Like, are you guys investing money somewhere else? Are you guys kind of like putting money in different places? Where are you keeping your money? What are you guys doing? And then they start telling me, oh yeah, we're doing you know, I'm doing this type of weird investment, and I'm doing it like this. And I said, so how is that going? You know, and how much money do you have in there? And I lost money on it or something like that. So I said, oh really? Yeah. And then so I listen to what they're saying and getting to know them. And sometimes we find things in common. You know, they're from if they're from Argentina, I'm gonna talk about soccer. If they're from you know, if they're from a different place, so it's kind of like, if they're in New York, if they're in New Jersey, I'm gonna say, hey, I just flew to New Jersey and New York, and I went to the headquarters of this company I'm going to show you called National Life Group. They're about 3 hours away. It's a great drive. I went to see my nephew and I told them the story. So anything that I can do, and if they're talking about North Carolina, I'm talking about when I sold books in North Carolina. So I make it real to people. I'm a real guy. I'm a real person. I want them to feel like they're talking to just anyone that they know. So by the end of our meeting, they feel very, very comfortable talking to me. So I should have no problem when I ask for their personal information. So that's what I say in the beginning. If I notice that people like one guy, for example, he started telling me, says he like I asked him a question. He did, so is that important for you to know? It was just a simple question like, where do you work? Things like that. So you didn't want to give me information. So and I tried to ask a little, and then so I said, I guess there's not much that I can do to help you, and maybe you need to find somebody else that is going to help you with this. But oh yeah, let's hang up. I mean, it was 2 or 3 minutes, less than that, because I don't want to waste my time. I don't want them to waste my time. Why? I know that there's not going to be any sale. Why will I waste my time? I'm not looking to make friends. I'm looking to do applications. That's it. That's pretty much, our job. So not that I don't like teaching people, but that's not how I get paid. I'm not, I want to help, but I don't want to just waste my time. So when you make that transition, then you go into your presentation, and the other thing that you need to do is sell the company. So you always have to sell the company. And then, so I don't really sell Family First Life or none of that. I don't sell nothing about even solid financial plan, none of that. I don't sell none of these. I basically sell the product IUL, and then the company that I'm going with, which is National Life Group. I tell them everything about National Life Group. I don't tell them that I'm a broker, that I got all these other companies. I just go say, the company I'm gonna tell you is the number one IUL company in the whole United States. Actually, in the whole world, because the world doesn't have IULs but United States. So they're the number one. They actually have 175 years in business. So they're not like they're one of the pioneers in the industry. They're the 8th largest insurance company in the United States. They're basically a mutual company. So when a mutual company, there's only 13 mutual companies out of hundreds of companies. And what that means is they're not owned by stockholders or people that basically buy the stocks from the company. They're actually owned by people that buy policies. So I own a policy with National Life Group. My daughter owns a policy with National Life Group. My wife did not qualify for one, so she doesn't have one, but we both are part owners of this company. When you acquire a policy and you're approved, you will become part owner of this company. That's pretty important to us because that means they look at your best interest. Another thing is, throughout these 175 years, they only have 11 CEOs. And the CEO that they have right now is a long-standing CEO that has made a huge difference in the whole market. So that's what I like about National Life Group. They're the number one IUL company. Then another thing is the technology. The technology that they use is highly, highly recommended for customers and for agents. So it makes it real easy for us because we have an app that can be used in your phone, and you can do the transactions from the bank to the IUL to the bank without having to talk to people. That's wonderful. I love it as a client. I love it as an agent. I love it. So it's kind of like, that's big for us. And I'm gonna show you how your money is gonna grow inside your IUL, which is kind of what you're looking for. And then I go into illustrations, and then I show them depending on what is minimum death benefit, maximum death benefit. I show them first that there's the options. You have number one, which is minimum death benefit, maximum cash value. Then as soon as I show them that and how the money breaks down, so I show them the example of $1,000, how it will break down. So if it's a 25-year-old, I'm gonna put 10% goes to your life insurance, 90% goes. If it's a 45-year-old, I say about 15% goes into your and 85. And if it's a 60-year-old, I'm gonna say about 30% goes into your life insurance. And then so I kind of calculate about how much percentage they're gonna have in there, so they're not surprised by it. Then I say, now the other thing is number 4 is kind of like we have number 2 and number 3, but number 4 is the opposite of number 1, which is what it does is protects the most. So if somebody says, hey, give me the most protection for my money, then we're going to do a focus protection. So that means they're spending most of their money on protection and very little on the other side. So the money is not going to grow very fast. So sometimes people are put into that, and then they're thinking that their money is going to grow real fast, and they're not. And that's what they get upset when they get something like that. So number 2 is more like number 1. Number 3 is more like number 4. Now, let me ask you this. What is the most important thing for you? Is it more like growing your money, or is it like protection, or both? And then I get quiet. And then they tell me, yeah, a lot of them, they say, growing my money right away. So I said, number 1 will be your best bet. That's what I like the most for myself too, and my daughter. And if they say, well, I want to grow my money, but I also want a protection, I say, okay, let's take a look at number 1 and then see if that meets your needs on protection. If it doesn't, then we can always add on extra. But I always start with that. And then unless they say, no, for me, more protection is very important, then I'm going to say, let's look at a protection focus for you. And then I'll say, what's your budget like for something like this? And then they'll basically give me like $300. So I'll calculate how much life insurance can we get them for $300 on a protection focus. And that's how I basically close. Those are real easy to close when they're looking for that. There's nothing cheaper than that. They just have to qualify for it. So I just qualified a 74-year-old lady for a protection focus from a client that bought for him, his sister, then brought his mom. His mom is perfect shape, got 74-year-old, got $50,000 life insurance, protection focus. He was so happy, paying $200. I says, if we go to a final expense program, it would be $300 and some dollars. So I'm hoping that she qualifies for it. But if not, then can put her. Say, yeah, I'll put her on the $300 if she doesn't qualify. But I'm really hoping that. So when I told him, I said, yeah, perfect. So and then that's pretty much. I mean, like I show them, of course, the benefits of being their own bank for all the things. I feel like everything else is very much like you can do the presentation. I've seen presentations that are not that good, but I feel like if you do the first part real good and then the rest of it okay, you're gonna be fine. And the closing has to be real good.
Yeah, and in fact, Juan, I put in the chat the video link. Everybody should click on that link and just bookmark that video, because it's what Juan goes over and how he covers it when he's doing what he just said he's doing, the illustration. And then the questions, I just went through and I typed them out as I watched, because I thought they were really good questions, and I'm sharing that with everybody. You guys can go ahead and grab that. So you're doing the discovery call and booking Zooms. What is your goal each week in terms of how many Zoom meetings you're trying to do?
Right now, I'm trying to. I tell the guy that dials for me. I tell him, I say, put no more than 6 appointments a day. So I'm maxing to 6 appointments a day. So I don't work like everybody else, sometimes all day. I basically I may start like at 10 a.m., 9:30, 11 a.m., and then I want to stop by 8 p.m. Kind of be done. So 6 appointments for me is a lot. At my age, I don't want to be sitting. I mean, today it's been a long day. Like it's been very good, but it's kind of like I started my appointments at 11, and it's been like appointment after appointment, and it almost four of them showed up. So that was very good out of 6 appointments.
Wow, that's excellent.
Good. That was very good. So I was like, wow, busy. I was like super. Sometimes I have 7 appointments and only one shows up.
Yeah.
I've had days that no one shows up, and then so. But the main thing that I do is I call them the day before. So my appointment setter, we kind of find a rhythm of seeing how can we get more a better show. So when he was calling them to confirm the appointments, I was having a very low show ratio because I didn't have a feel of who I was talking to, how they all these things. So he was just confirming some people, and I didn't know. Uh, Now I told him, I said, don't worry about the confirmation. I'm gonna call them and confirm the appointment the day before. So I called them and I get on the phone and I say, hey, this is Juan Franco. I'm the one who's gonna be meeting up with you to go over your purpose for the IUL and how this is gonna help you. Uh, Now I'm the one licensed in your state, and then so you're gonna have a lot of questions, I'm pretty sure. But the main thing that I wanted to see is if you have everything you need to connect with me tomorrow. I have you at 3 p.m. Is that correct at your time? Yeah, great. And do you have that Zoom appointment? I mean, that Zoom link that you need? Do you want me to? And then if they say I got it, I say I tell you what, I'll send it to you by text since you already got it on the email. I always want to send it to them anyway. But if they say, yeah, I need it, then I'm gonna say I'm gonna send it to you by email and by text. And then I say, now let me ask you this: any questions for me before our meeting? And then I open it. And then a lot of times they ask me questions. They say, and sometimes they want a presentation right there, which I tell them. I said, well, the reason of our meeting is to cover all that, but I'll answer certain questions and give them very interesting to the IUL. Like today, like the kid that I just 27-year-old, just he just bought it. He asked me a bunch of questions before. He's an investor. He likes to put money in the thing. He works as an electrician. He's putting money in an IRA. He's putting money. He wants to put money. So it's kind of like he's asking me, so what is the main thing? How can I draw? Because my purpose is for me to use the money in the future and all that. So I answer some questions, but then at the end, after like maybe 5 minutes of talking, then I says, those are great questions. And that's the reason we're going to have a great meeting tomorrow. We're going to go in about 45 minutes. I'm going to cover everything in details and how your money is going to grow and how you're going to take money, how you're going to become your own bank. So tomorrow, and then I close and then I say, okay, let's I'll send you a link right now. We'll see you tomorrow. So those are very good when they ask you a lot of questions. It's very good. That means they're very interested. They're wanting to know more. And so if people don't answer the phone call, they don't answer the text, I put them as a no-show. So I have color coded my Google Calendar, which is a great deal. I'm using Google Calendar now. Before I was using just paper calendar.
Yeah.
Finally, I gave that up.
Yeah.
And like
you're making progress.
I'm still using a lot of paper things, but they're not the Google Calendar. But I color coded. So blue is my appointments. Yellow is banana. That means no show. Then orange for me is a confirmed appointment. That means the day before they confirm. And then red means sold. And then so I have that in my calendar. And then purple means reschedule. reschedule for another day. So that's the thing. And then I basically go through those and just kind of like, try to do my best with the by confirming your appointments, your chances of having more show people is a lot greater.
Yeah.
But I ask people, a majority of people want to text confirmation, and then text is not the same as calling. You gotta hear their voice. They gotta hear you. They don't know who you are, but now they know. And now they know. And sometimes if I feel like there's a little bit of like a guy that I talked to yesterday, he's a he's a he was a pro basketball player. So he's like a guy, that a young guy but very detailed. And he wanted to investigate the company. So what I did is I sent him my digital business card. My digital business card has everything on me. Has my social media. He's following now everything on my social media. He basically looked like I was an integrity partner. He looked at that I have solid financial plan, what it is, FFL, one culture. So you can look at all that into mine. And then so it gives them confidence. But I'm not going to tell them anything about the carriers. I don't, people say, which company you use? I don't give that up. I say, I
Okay.
use over 100 different companies. Until I'm with them, I'm not giving none of that. Because I don't know where it's a competitor that just wants to find out. I don't know where they're meeting up with somebody else. I don't know. I don't want to give up that at that moment. I want to meet with them. So
So why don't we do this one? I don't want to keep you too long, but these guys have a lot of great questions. And part of jumping on here, the reward is they can ask the speakers
yeah,
questions. And so I know Mary Jo has a question that you put in the chat. MJ, if you want to unmute and ask your question. She was at that meeting too.
yeah, I know, I
She got
know.
as fired up about IULs as I did.
Hey
MJ,
Juan, nice to see you. Congratulations on your
hey,
success.
thank
So
you.
you're in the next phase of our business with FFL. Now you're an integrity partner, but just for all of these new agents starting out, because they're new to us, my question was, okay, you've got a little bit different schedule now and you have a dialer. That's not how you started. When you were in the hunt to build your business, what were you doing? How many appointments were you setting every day and how were you dialing, please?
Yeah, so I actually started a dialer about 6 months ago. That was the first time. And before that, for 3.5 years, I was dialing on my own. So when I had the highest years in production, I was dialing all on my own, and I was doing paper basically, calendar. So I you can do it. I was setting up about 30 30 to 35 appointments a week. I was trying to run about 8 appointments a day. So that's, I mean, you can truly, I mean, if somebody is young and somebody is really really hungry, like I got a guy, Paul Rodriguez. He's young. He's 35 years old, and I told him, I said, Paul, you know that you can hit $1 million this year. You if you decide to do it, you're good at this, but you gotta work your butt off. I say, why don't you work your butt off for 6 months, make a lot of money, and next year you'll see that your life is changed. And he took it to heart, and he's been selling the heck out of it, because you can put as much as you want. Like you don't have, like I told him, I said, I did that for a period of time. For about a year and a half, I worked my butt off, and it's paying off. Now I don't have to work as hard. I can take vacations. I can take things for my family. But it's the rewards that I of all the work that I put in before. So it was kind of like you can, and this job allows you to do that. Like there's not many jobs that, like I was listening to Andrew Taylor. He says, what we sell is time. We don't sell how people can make money, but how can they can buy time. Like if we work this job for 2 or 3 years real hard, how much time can we save in our life? So I started late. I started at 57, but I'm gonna be 61, and I have the most freedom that I ever had in my life. I feel like I'm retired because I'm doing kind of what I like. So it's kind of like I'm not really, I told Julia, I'm not really working. I feel like I'm not really doing things that I don't like. I love what I'm doing, but we have time for ourselves, and that's humongous, you know.
That's awesome. But you can't harvest unless you plant. So it's the law of the farm. You did a plant. Now you're harvesting.
Yes.
That's awesome.
Yes.
Awesome. Thanks,
Thank
MJ. Mwangu, you have a question? I see got your hand up there.
Yes, thank you, sir. Thank you, Neil. We appreciate you
Thank
for
you.
bringing people like Juan Franco. Really, Juan, I just want to say thank you so much for that wisdom. I've been in sales for quite a long time, but the way you bring the presentation and how you relate to the human feeling and how human beings can interact and create relationships is just amazing. And if it's possible, really, I would say you could write something like this, and maybe some of us gonna write it up, just creating almost like a manual on how you can successfully, do this business.
Mm-hmm.
So I just want to thank you so much.
Thank you, Wangu.
Yeah.
That's awesome. He is so grateful. He's such a wonderful guy. Brand new, came over from another company, and it's just really just a blessing. So, as so many people are on here. So, all right, we have IUL and annuity specialists raising their hand. I do not know who that is, so just say who you are and where you're from. Oh, that's Felipe. Sorry.
Hey, Neil.
Hey, bud. Go ahead.
Hey, how's it going? Thank you for having us, Juan. It was a pleasure meeting you. I know we met in Vegas for 2.5 seconds, but I just wanted to ask you, and great information that you're putting out, and these calls are always so great. I just wanted to ask you, if you could do it all over again, what would you do different?
That's a tough question. Very little things that I feel like everything went. I would not like to start off without the experience of being in the field. And what I did the first year helped me tremendously on my success in virtual. So when I tell people, I say, Dan Hatcher, Mo Amjadi, Chris Lambert, we got an advantage over them because we sold face to face, and we basically got our butt kicked so much that when virtual came to us, we were ready. We were kind of like, okay, this is a piece of cake. But some people, they don't even make it with the piece of cake. And then so I tell them, I say, I just cannot believe that people cannot make it in this business. The way that we have it now is so easy. I used to dial, my dialing day was from 7 o'clock in the morning until 9 p.m. at night. I will dial and dial and dial and dial, and I have over 100 phone numbers to dial every day that I dial. And I was trying to make eight appointments. It was a good day for me. And if I could make 8 appointments out of that, or 10 appointments, it was amazing. And then so it was a lot of hang-ups, a lot of people. Now I have, if I have 10 leads, that's pretty much all I can call for a day. I call 10 leads and I basically make 5 appointments. And so it's kind of like I it's a piece of cake for me. Like I just feel like people that were not in the before and after, they don't understand what we went through. And then so I feel like those that we were before, like Neal, people like that, like Broadway, all that is like, that's basically the appreciation on what we have, so don't take it for granted. This is a business that you can become a millionaire and a multi-millionaire. And but people take it for granted. I think I didn't take it for granted. And I think Neal has not taken for granted. And that's what we're doing well,
Thank you. Appreciate that.
Danny, you've got your hand up. Why don't you go next?
Yes, sir. Hi, Juan Franco. Nice to finally meet you. I'm brand new to the business, but you're a legend. Your name is just it's just synonymous with IUL. So congratulations on all your success. I'm brand new to the business. I'm just getting started. I'm working under Neal. I'm learning from someone who is highly respected in the business, and I'm really excited about that. I recently started calling on some people, and I'm fluent in Spanish as well. And I don't know if it's any different, but what are some of your biggest objections, maybe in the Latin community, and how do you overcome those? Maybe it's just a general, objection, but how do you overcome those?
So Edgar, are you doing Spanish leads?
Yeah.
Yeah, definitely do them. If you don't know Spanish, I know you're jealous of us. So we got a much bigger success right now than the English leads. So like I Dan Hatcher always told me, I wish I knew Spanish, because right now we got an advantage over, because the is a hot topic right now for the Spanish leads. So anyway, you got an advantage right there. But objections is kind of like the same thing. I would say I try to like I said, like in the beginning, I typically have a very solid throughout, and by the time we close, it's kind of like there shouldn't be any objections by the time I close. If I have done everything and asking the questions, but if for any reason the most common one that you're gonna hear is well, I gotta discuss it with my wife, or I'm gonna see about I gotta see about my budget to see if it meets my budget or something like that. Something that is kind of delay the thought, and then at that point, the answer has to be, I agree. I will do the same thing like you. That's the reason National Life Group gives us so much time to do this, because all we're gonna do today is try to get you approved. Now that's gonna take a while. So while that is going on, we're gonna basically make sure that you find your budget, you find everything, and then you talk to your wife, and then if you get approved, then we can make the right choice at that time. Now let me ask you this: if we send it for approval, is it 500 okay, or less or more? So I go back to the closing that I did. I go back again, but I first agree 100%, take the defenses out of them, because what happens is when the defensive are basically, they're gonna, if you don't agree with them, if you say, well, you don't need to be thinking about that, like you're putting the defensive, and then they're gonna be very hard to close. So take that off, and then go back real soft. And sometimes I will leave like a couple of things that I need to show them, benefits of the IUL, that I always leave them for a second or third close. So if I feel that this is somebody that I really want to close that day. And that 20% of the people that I don't close is because I feel like sometimes I'm not gonna, they're basically, I will let them leave because sometimes they just not prepared for it, or truly they were not sold into it. Like, and I kind of like, I get that feel, and I'm not gonna try to close them and close them and close them. I mean, some people say closing 5 or 6 times is good, and you can do that, but that's a chargeback. It's gonna be a chargeback. So I learned that. So I usually just show them something new. So they always say people don't change their mind, but they make new decisions. I don't know if you understand that, but they don't change their mind. They already decided no, but they're gonna make a new decision with new information. So if you show them new information, they have to make a new decision. And then I show them something new, and then I go for my close again.
Great, thank you. I appreciate that. I had a quick follow-up if nobody else has a question.
Sure.
Sorry, go for it.
No, just real quick, and then we'll get to Oscar D.
Oh yeah, just real quick. Do you write anything else besides NLG or only NLG?
I write 100% NLG if I can. On IULs, I don't see a purpose for writing anybody else. That's me. But annuities, I write Athene. I write a lot of those annuities too. I mean, annuities. So if I was going for like something else, then I used to write other carriers, but now that I'm writing IULs, is NLG. Yeah.
You want those trips, brother?
Yeah. I want everything that I can on them.
Yeah, right. Hey, Oscar, thanks for joining us tonight. Go ahead and unmute yourself and ask your question.
Thank you, Neal. Juan, nice to meet you.
Very nice to meet you, Oscar.
But Neal just made me raise my eyebrows. What are the strips that you're talking about with NLG?
Yeah, the trips are good. They actually based on your production. So like this year, you can qualify to go to Bahamas. So in May we're going to Bahamas. So I already qualified for that. So if you qualify for that, they tell you, oh, you already qualify, and there's other things that you can do. You can go diamond, which is something that people can achieve, like, and then you can get a higher, kind of like bigger room, a couple of extra days with you and your wife or your partner. And it's kind of like you can bring somebody else. Now, they also have a European or something like overseas, bigger trip that you can qualify for that if you're like real big producer.
Mm-hmm.
And that's another one that they qualify. So those type of things, I mean, we love it because those are like, I mean, like, you're not talking about like just a regular hotel. They're like hotels that we cannot afford.
Like the Ritz-Carlton in Maui.
Like 5,000
It's top drawer.
3,000 a night.
So the question I wanted to ask you was that you mentioned earlier that you don't tell them that you're a broker. So on that initial contact, how do you introduce yourself? What do you tell them?
I usually present myself as a financial specialist. So I'm basically, I don't tell them that I'm just an agent. There's too many agents in the world.
Yeah.
You want to differentiate yourself from the crowd. And
But I don't think a lot of people know the difference between an agent and a broker, to be honest with you.
Yeah. So that's what I'm saying. Broker is like, they think, oh my God, broker is like, ooh, they may have a bad feeling about broker. Like broker could be, I mean, that's not a very good word. Like you broke. I mean, like it start with the broke. I don't like that word. So like broker is like, what does that mean? And like and so some people say, oh, I'm a broker. And like, I don't like saying that. I'm a financial strategist, or I'm a financial planner, or I'm a financial professional. Whatever the word that you feel comfortable, you can use, and that's what you are. You cannot say you're a financial advisor. That's not, you cannot say that, but you can say other things. You're a financial professional. You can say different words that describe what you do. And then I typically tell, so what do you do? And then when people say, so you're like in social media, a lot of people, they feel like I'm more than just what I do. And then so that's good for me. The people think that they call me for things that they want to talk about, like their lives. They want to fix their lives with me, and I'm like, I cannot help them with that. But that's good that they think that I'm super special.
Yeah.
You know.
And then I have one more question before John, I'm going to ask you one last question. What do you do with the bananas, the yellows in your calendar? Do you call them a few more times? What do you do with those?
To tell you the truth, I have so many leads and so many things that I don't worry about those for myself sake. Yeah. But if I was a new agent that don't have as much money as I do, then I will say work them again. Like my nephew goes over and over. He's writing about 40,000-50,000 a month.
Wow.
But he works like I was working two years ago, a year and a half ago. He's basically working 35 appointments a week. He's working his butt off. But he's 43 years old. So it's like, that's good. He needs to put that the next 10 years and then become wealthy.
Yeah. Especially if you're buying those leads, you don't want to throw them to waste.
Yeah. So if you don't, I could throw him out to another agent and then have them call. So that's something that I can do also. So like if a new agent comes in, they say, I'm real hungry, I don't have any money. I say, hey, call these people. I never got a hold of them.
All right, I'm gonna send you my email then.
Hey, thanks, Oscar.
Thanks, guys.
Appreciate your question. We're right up against the 1 hour timeline. So John, it's got to be quick. But we want to get you in. Go ahead, bud. John? Did we lose him?
Here.
Okay, go ahead.
Can you hear me?
Yep, we got you.
So my understanding is you can take your wife and your girlfriend? I'm just I
like that. I like
no,
that.
so I mean you've been doing this for a while. You've seen thousands of clients, and you must get a feel from, because you have to control the conversation. So you must get a feel from them what they want versus what they need. Sometimes it's not the same. I mean, how do you?
Right.
It comes with experience, I suppose.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just wondering how you work that out.
Yeah, I mean, like, it's a field that you, like you were saying, John, is like you're trying to find a very good what they're looking for, and sometimes the need and the want is one thing. If you look at it, it's kind of like the same. It can become the same, if you present it that way. So it's kind of like most people, my daughter calls it, I need it. When they see a piece of clothes that I need it. It's not I want it, I need it. And that's kind of like true, that's the way that you perceive, So
all right, awesome. Well, listen, appreciate the questions from everybody. Thanks, John. Juan, we can't thank you enough for jumping on. We brought Zach in next week. He's like, oh, good Lord, I got to follow up. Juan, why would you do that? So I told him I'd tell you that.
Zach is going to be quick.
He's great. We just have so appreciated him. So
he just goes like,
he's rapid fire.
He he goes like about 10 times faster than what I do, and he'll be through in 10 minutes, and then so he covers so much things in 10 minutes. I'm like, oh my God, how much information can you give me? Like, wow, that's amazing.
Well, we're super proud of you, Juan. Everybody, thank you for joining us. We do this every week. Next week we'll have Zach Turdowski. Zach, his agency does about $6 million a month. When he got in his integrity deal, he said he had 150 people in his group, and it's just blown up from them. So he's 28. So, we try and rotate the young guys, like we had Daniel Broadway last week, and then us old guys can't always be on here. So Juan, thank you so much. Appreciate you joining us tonight.
Thank you.
Okay. Good night. Good night, everybody.